Premium doesn't sell in India. That's what we talk about. Gen Zs are not accepting premiumness. They are more attracted towards brands which are more authentic, which are more relatable.
Why did you choose Gen Z, first of all?
50% of the Indian population is Gen Z. Today, skincare is called as a ritual.
Does North Indian skin is different than a South Indian skin?
I understood the colors play a major role.
Kya Gen Z mindsets are different in other regions? I mean, as in compared to Bangalore.
If you give them a product which is more enjoyable and personal to them, they will hook to it.
Any feedback that surprised you the most?
Surprising feedback was that, they are...
How do you ensure that, that fragrance is last in your product?
Once you have used a body wash, you wash it off, the fragrance will stay up to 5 to 6 hours.
One word that defines Gen Z beauty in India.
Gen Z beauty in India, the reality of India, I would say.
Same day delivery or immersed digital experience? Body care used to be simple. Your family bought one brand. You stuck it to number of years. Trust was inherited, but today Gen Z is rewriting the rules. They don't buy because something looks premium. They buy what feels bold, relatable, and culturally alive. With nearly half of India's consumption power and the trillions in projected spending, the generation doesn't reward size. They reward relevance. So what does it take to build a mass premium body care or hair care brand in an era where loyalty is earned daily and lost in one scroll? Welcome to the collaborative canvas where we explore the minds shaping what next. Today, I'm joined by Gaurav Birmani, founder and CEO of Grass Skincare and GoWhipped, who is building a bold, innovation-led brand for the new consumer. This isn't just about beauty. What we are talking about is decoding a certain behavior, and building with Gen Z is just not for them. So we have to dive into, get a little more details into this. So I invite Gaurav to the show. And Gaurav, let's start by knowing a little bit about you.
Sure. Thank you, Ankesh, for having me here. Just to introduce myself in one line, so I'm a CMO turned entrepreneur. My forte has been in marketing and branding throughout the years. I've worked with a lot of FMCG brands, consulted a lot of D2C brands while building. So the first entrepreneurship journey started back in 2019 when I was building in the travel space. And I used to travel along a group of young people, took them to places like Manali and Jaipur as a college group students. Gradually, when I started doing my MBA, I got more exposure towards marketing and branding. And that's where I got to know more about the FMCG space. And that quietly, something that I got interested into. I started this brand called Grass Skincare, which was back in 2024, we launched it. So the journey was very, simple. When we thought about getting into the BPC space, I went to a lot of manufacturers. So if you look at the Indian market, there are a few hubs where you will find most of the manufacturers. And if you go to them, they will place all the products that they are manufacturing on the table and tell you that you tell me what do you want to manufacture. I will give you the same formulation and you can put your label onto it.
Oh, wow.
So that's how the market operates. And that's where the idea stuck me that, why I am launching something which is already there in the market and we should, have another product on the shelf which replicates what is already there. So I went to outside India, met the R&D labs like in Korea and Spain, just to understand what are the difference between what we are doing in India as a manufacturing unit and what they are doing to build brands like L'Oreal and Chanel. So the formulation labs are working with these brands. One texture that I found was not being talked about in India was the whipped texture. And that's where we started, and we were the first Indian brand to launch a whipped texture sunscreen in India. The cost of that product was $17.90. And the problem that we faced while building that brand was because we were focusing on luxury. But again, premium doesn't sell in India. That's what we talk about. The Gen Zs are not accepting premiumness. They are more attracted towards brands which are more authentic, which are more relatable.
Exactly.
And that's where we are now bringing the new brand called GoWhipped, which is a whipped-inspired India's first hair and body care brand, targeting Gen Zs, built for Gen Zs, and inspired by desert fragrances. So yeah.
Generally what I do when, I invite my guest, I actually go through their LinkedIn profile a lot because that's where, a lot of marketing and branding happens.
Yes.
And since you have been CMO, ex-CMO of an organization already, you know exactly how marketing works.
Right.
So I think हमारा जो conversation है वो थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा depth में जाएगा in terms of, how we see a certain generation.
Right.
So when you started this whole body care and hair care thing, because it is pretty demanding these days as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally don't go with the bigger names anymore because it doesn't work with me as a millennial as well. It doesn't work with me. Considering the climatic conditions are changing, हमारा atmosphere पूरी तरह से बदल रहा है.
Right.
People are looking at more than authentic is something which is more real.
Right.
That gives them some kind of a result.
Exactly.
So why did you choose Gen Z first of all? Because again, other than the population that we already spoke about, कि हाँ वो 350 million लोग हैं वगैरह वगैरह. Why body care and hair care specifically? Considering the market is shifting towards a lot more than that,
right?
And then specifically in the Gen Z era.
So basically, when you look at the market today, 50% of the Indian population is Gen Z, and they are rewriting the playbook of buying the products. Earlier, what used to happen is if a parent is buying a product, they used to focus on getting the functionality out of it. For example, if you talk about our parents, they used to buy a product just to get the functionality done. For example, washing the hair, getting the body clean. That's all the target was. But today, Gen Zs are looking for product which is more relatable, which is more authentic to themselves. Today, if you talk about to a Gen Z, because I interact with a lot of Gen Zs and I ask them, why skincare, why body care, what do you see in the market? What I generally see is that they are not buying products just to get the functionality out of it. They are buying products to get it an identity for themselves. For example, now today, skincare is called as a ritual. Why so? They have shifted from a hygiene level to a ritual. And that's because this particular generation is not taking things like it used to be. Today, the work culture has shifted. Today, the mindset has been shifted. And this is because they don't like things boring. I think Gen Zs are eliminating the brands which used to be the legacy brands and shifting towards these brands which are more relatable, which talk their language and more likely to be, be in their own identity. So at GoWhipped, what we are building right now, we are focusing on Gen Zs. We are interacting with them daily. So I personally meet them. I talk to them. What are their needs? What are the gaps they feel? The similar kind of answers come across. They are just giving me faces around the brands which are already existing because they feel it's too boring. And that's where the insight of building this GoWhipped came into the picture. And that's what we are targeting right now.
So since we're just starting this up, and if you really wanted to understand what Gaurav is saying, and you really wanted to validate it, every bit and pieces that Gaurav just mentioned is there on LinkedIn. So his meetings with the Gen Zs, there are videos which are there. And you've done a thorough research on Gaurav on Gen Zs. I mean, I literally saw like 5 to 6 people were there in your office, and you were talking to them and you were trying to understand. Their whole crew was sitting down there.
Right.
The first question which strikes my mind, because Gen Z is a very generation which changes instantly,
Right.
whatever they get, where they're able to adapt it. Do you see a brand loyalty also coming along with the same thing?
So I will say brand loyalty doesn't exist in this generation, right? Because if I talk about a brand loyalty, the market has been flooded with so many options. Every minute, I would say every 20 minutes, there is new brand being launched in the skincare and the beauty and personal care section.
Exactly.
Because there is no market entry barrier, right? So loyalty cannot be bought. It is only the experience that can, get your generation, this Gen Z, hooked to your particular product, and always looking for new products. They are not sticking to the layman method of, just one product and all the needs. They want different products for different needs. And that's how they are reshaping it.
So Gaurav, considering that for them to get adaptable to a certain brand,
right,
they really need that brand to be authentic.
Exactly.
But if थोड़ी देर में नए brands are popping up, how can they ensure that they can actually track the authenticity and can stick to that brand for a longer period of time? So where does this authenticity plays its own role?
So I will tell you, for example, you look at a photo shoot of a brand, any international brand or any Indian legacy brand. They will get the faces which are more fair. They will get faces which have been, a lot of makeup putting on those models to showcase that this is how you're going to look like.
Exactly.
But Gen Z is so smart; they get to know that this is a makeup, and that's what they don't want. They want the authenticity in the skin texture also. They should feel relatable to that model. This model looks like me, and this product is for me. That's where the relatability factor comes in, and that's where the authenticity steps in, and people are getting loyal towards the brand which are authentic then.
Which is why one of the premium brands who used to portray कि आपका ये texture है तो आप गोरे हो जाओगे.
Right.
doesn't exist. That I don't see that ad any which ways.
And they have changed their name also now.
Exactly. So when we talk about, again, I'll go back to the loyalty and authenticity again. Brands, how much do they deep dive into the research element? Because you've been doing it, so I wanted to understand from you. जब आप जेनजी के पास जाते हो तो आप किस तरीके की डिकोडिंग करते हो कि आपको पता चलता है कि यार एक सर्टेन पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम these guys gonna stick with me before they move on, and when we know that this is the time when they probably be switching to another brand, we have to do something else.
Right.
How do you go about doing that, and what is that deep dive all about?
So basically, when we get into a research and interact with audience, we don't just call them to the studio, we reach where they are available. For example, Delhi is a hub of hotspots like cafes.
Correct.
And CP, the Connaught Place market, the Khan market, where most of the Gen Zs will be found, just exploring the evening. So we go there, we spend our time in that locality, we come across people, we interact with them. We have our mics in hand, we have the camera, we still record that so that, we also can do a back research when we have those footages. So we ask them simpler questions. What is the problem that they see in the daily shower routines? What is the problem they see in daily hair care routines, hair styling problems? So all these answers that they give us help us understand what is there in the market which is missing. And that's what the authenticity will link to. That is where we get to know. Because if you look at a bigger brands, they don't have bandwidth to go into these markets, interact with consumers and get the products done.
वो तो simple, they do a market research and they get to know exactly what is their answer to those questions that they've
Exactly. So what they do, the formulations are built in their labs, but we say our formulations is built in the market, talking to these people, interacting with the generation we are selling to, and that's how we get to know what is the gap.
Well, how often do you do that?
So every Saturday it's out of the office that we go, and we interact with. Saturday nobody's in the office. Every team is out there meeting new people, meeting new consumers, interacting with them, getting to know what they're looking for. And on Monday morning, we are sitting again to discuss what they got as an interaction.
So is there a full-fledged questionnaire which is designed a week before?
Yeah. So we have a Excel sheet where we have mentioned all the questions that we want to ask them. Randomly, sometimes the conversation gets so deeper that some new questions pop up, and we add those also for the new people to get interacted.
So whenever you interact with them, do you showcase your product in the same time?
So always. So not always. We do show them the product in some stages where the question is related to the shower routines. We ask them and then we make them try the product to get their insight how they are feeling the product. So we recently did a Vox Pop. We went to this market called Khan Market. We gave the team our products. So we do not have any label onto it. It's just the plain bottle as of now to just showcase them.
Which is called a blind bottle.
Right, the blind bottle. So we tell them, this is a product, guess what it is. So because they have not seen this texture before, they guess it like a shaving cream. They will guess it like a hair mousse because they don't know this can exist. And once they try and they get to know that this is the formulation that we are offering, for example, we gave them a body moisturizer. And then the reaction that comes up, the smile on their face, oh, wow, this is a body moisturizer, I want to try it again. They put it on their body, on the camera itself. So that's the interaction we do to understand how they are reacting to our products, what is relatable to them, and how they are responding towards the products that we are developing now.
I'm blindly thinking and, in fact, holistically thinking.
Right.
आप जब ये चीज कर रहे हो, तो people would have come and said, this looks to be another brand and, it smells कि वही premium brand होगा, उसकी आप copy बना रहे हो. Do you get these kinds of feedback as well when you talk to them?
So we do not get these kind of feedbacks. Mostly what we get to know is that, this can really exist because this texture is so booming in the international market and nobody's talking about this in India. So we are the first brand doing it. So we have that leverage of, giving that consumer the first experience of this texture of whipped format. Because if you look at the shelf in the Indian market, you will find products which are mostly cream in formulations. We are lotion, we have gels, but whipped texture doesn't exist on the shelves.
But the shaving creams are whipped, right?
But that doesn't come into your body lotion and body washes yet.
Exactly.
Right. So shaving, that's why they relate with shaving cream because they have only seen that product.
Got it.
So that only comes to their mind when they see that texture, but they haven't thought of it कि ये texture body wash में भी हो सकता है. This texture can come in a body moisturizer as well, or for their hair styling products. So that is the kind of generation we are raising to and catering to because they are looking for these kind of products.
But you said आप जैसे Khan Market गए, you probably be interacting with people who are going to cafes. How often do you actually go to another city rather than just Delhi or metropolitans?
So that we do like twice or thrice in a quarter, because mostly we are also traveling. I personally travel to different places like Bangalore and Mumbai for meetings. My evenings are spent in the hotspot destinations over there. For example, go to Bangalore, so I will go to the Church Street and all these areas to understand what these consumers, because at that time I do not have a team who's recording, but still I get to time to interact with these people and get their insights out.
But the reason why I'm asking this question is because we live in a different climatic zone across India, and everybody has a different requirements altogether. So जो आपको feedback Delhi में मिल रहा होगा, not necessarily the same feedback will work in Bangalore or say Chennai.
Right.
So how do you actually ensure कि जो GoWhipped का product line है, it caters to different skin, different texture, different mindset? How do you ensure that?
So if you look at the climate of India, it's all tropical mostly, and whatever heat you get into Delhi and the climate you get into Delhi, it's quite similar to now in Bangalore with all these global warming changes that we have. And Delhi has never experienced these kind of summers what they used to get earlier. So if you look at the the geography of India now, it's almost equivalent to what you can feel in Bangalore and what you can feel in Mumbai. The humid will change, the humidity will change, the weather will change, but still the skin textures, the preferability towards the texture is stagnant throughout. Because nobody wants to put a product onto their skin which feels more heavier or makes them feel uncomfortable. That's where this particular format that we are developing, the whipped, comes in, because this is easy to absorb into the skin. First thing, it is easy to absorb, plus it gives you a very light feel onto the skin. It doesn't feel heavy or leaves any residue. So these kind of USPs about this particular texture can be catered to all the parts of the India, not just south or north. This can go throughout India.
एक random question, since you're covering the entire geography,
right?
And more like a fundamental question. I'm trying to understand myself. So different skin, different texture, different places.
Right.
Now the point is, does North Indian skin is different than a South Indian skin when it comes to testing?
Very mildly. Very, very, very. It's a very less frequency of changes that you will see. South skin is more exposed to the salt because of the sea and the waves that they have, the tropical areas. But when you come to the north, they are not very much exposed to the humidity that people might have in the Mumbai or a Bangalore region, right? So that is where the difference comes in. But the experience of using a product, the preferability of using a product doesn't change like drastically. But when I talk about brands which are already catering to the pan-India market, the formulations and the cream textures sells throughout India. It's not the particular region that will have the maximum sales, right?
They have a very uniformity across the brand.
Exactly. So similarly, because if you look at the Indian market altogether, there is no such difference of the product which can cater to North and South separately. It's just the formulation and the affordability of the product that can vary from these regions.
And Gaurav, one other thing, since you have mentioned this, क्या Gen Z mindsets are different in other regions? I mean, as in compared to Bangalore. Again, North Indians are also there.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't be categorizing that. But the core Bangaloreans versus core Mumbaikars versus core Delhiites, mindset में कोई changes आते हैं when you speak to them?
I don't think so, because this generation is more exposed to social media.
True.
And social media is one platform that caters to every part of the India. And they are not really having any changes in their ideology and preferences. Because if you talk to a person in Delhi, especially a Gen Z guy, the answers that he will give you might be very much similar to a Mumbaikar, because they are coming from the same generation and the same mindset of building something in their lives.
So for them, I think authenticity holds more relevance than going by the brand which their probably family would have been respectfully be using it.
Yeah.
It doesn't change much.
No.
So हमने इनफैक्ट ये वाला बात करी ली, but still when we talk about overall identity perspective, considering there's so many brands, आपने काफी thorough research भी कर ली, you actually found out why. In fact, I'm kind of buying with the idea of GoWhipped skincare treatment, because again for us has always been the shaving cream.
Right.
Shaving whip. One of my episode, we talked about men grooming product.
Right.
उसमें था कि the canister used to have some gases.
Right.
How does it work in the skincare? Because they said that if you get the whip on your hand, it still dispatch some kind of a gas, which is not good for you because you're actually closer to the canister and then you probably be smelling that. How does it work for the GoWhipped skincare brands, as in skin product line?
So basically, when we talk about a whipped product, if you look at that, it comes in an aerosol bottle. So it's exactly what a whipped cream will look like. You have to dispense it out of an aluminum bottle.
Correct.
And the texture is exactly what whipped cream will look like.
Correct.
So the idea here is not about the question that I wanted to answer was that as the gases we're talking about here, the gases are all neutral. So that those gases are nothing to be more of a chemical sort or will get you exposed to some of kind of allergy or something like that. It's a generic gas which is not too harmful for you. So this is something which doesn't actually really matters to this point.
So how do you ensure कि उसकी longevity रहे? Because I'm trying to still understand how can a whipped cream, because I have seen the dispensers just आप दबाइए और आपके हाथ पे क्रीम आ जाएंगे, then you rub it on your hand or face.
Right.
The whip is different.
Right.
So how do you ensure the longevity happens around it?
So a product for us, for example, we have tested it. So a 200 ml of a bottle of a body wash can last up to 30 to 35 days if you use it daily.
Okay.
Right. Generally, if I talk about a layman brand which is generally available in the market, the legacy brands, if you buy a bottle for a body wash, you might use half of it and then buy another one. Because you don't want to stick to any of those fragrances. Exactly. So if you have to change a product for 30 to 35 days and get a new one and half of that is waste for you, then why not use a bottle that is getting finished in 30-35 days and you switch to another product after that? From the same brand. Maybe you can get some other fragrance from our side. So yeah, that's.
So Gaurav, एक बात है कि जो if I really have to ritually use it for 35 days, there are people who does it, then there are people who don't.
Right.
I've seen a lot of brands actually give that ritual on a paper कि पहले आप step 1, then step 2, then step 3, and you have to follow this over a period of time.
Right.
Do you do something like that as well?
No.
So how do you ensure that people are actually ritually using it?
So we have made the product so playful in its texture that once a product is bought by somebody and they start using it, they might not feel like dropping it out. The reason is simple. If you step into a shower, just a small question: do you sing while you're in shower?
Sometimes.
Everybody does that, right? Why do they do it? Because they enjoy doing that, and that is their own space. Exactly, when a product is given to them in their personal space and they enjoy using it, that becomes a habit to them, and they don't want to switch out of it. Exactly, that's how people, because we asked this question to a lot of people while interacting that do you sing in shower, and they said yes. So that's how the generation is growing up. If you give them a product which is more enjoyable and personal to them, they will hook to it.
Yeah, did you ever ask them how much time they spend in the bathroom?
Yes, I asked them, and some girls gave me an answer in 1.5 hours also they are spending in shower.
So you invited a lot of Gen Zs to the studio, I would rather call it, rather than office. आप कभी पैकेजिंग को लेके भी उनके साथ कोई डिस्कशन करते हो कि व्हाट काइंड ऑफ, बिकॉज आई हर्ड आई सॉ द ट्रांसक्रिप्शन इन योर वन ऑफ योर मैसेजेस दैट यू आर एक्चुअली आस्किंग, तो उन्होंने कहा कि मुझे ऐसी बॉटल चाहिए, मुझे वैसा. हाउ ऑफन दैट चेंज you see, how often those conversations happens with these Gen Zs?
So what we did, we just invited 4-5 Gen Zs who were more interacted towards the brand. They were talking to us for almost a month now. So we called them. We actually designed a number of packages.
So these are people who are using your brand.
They have tried the samples, but they have not seen the packaging yet.
Okay.
So we invited them to the studio. We put all the labels that we have designed on the table and randomly asked them which one will you pick. So that idea was to understand what is particular thing about that designs which is actually attracting them. Some said that font is something they would like to understand.
I remember that.
Yeah, the font needs to be more readable. I should be able to read the font from a distance. And if some label is having a minimal font or not too visible from an end, I might not pick it up because I have to go through it and pick it up and then read it. They don't want to do that. They want to stand at a level and understand from a glance that this is what the product does. This is what it is giving you the benefits. It should be all visible to them. Second part that I understood, the colors play a major role.
Of course.
Right. They don't want a packaging with the labels and the ingredients pasted on the top of it that most of the brands are doing today. They are putting all the labels in front saying that we are transparent. You put all the things in the forward, but at least ensure that the packaging is attractive because they are using it daily. It should not feel
Should
like
be relatable.
should be relatable to them. It should feel that they're using a product which is more related to them and not just to sell them. So we created this packaging. I will show you the photos over there. So these photos will showcase you how the product looks like. So we have added a drip effect of how the chocolate will drip out of the bottle. So we have a collection called hot chocolate. We have a collection called birthday cake. So these are the name of the collections that we have kept. The packaging, they look tasty. So that's how we have done it.
So, Joe, when you actually create, these testing scenarios, any feedback that surprised you the most?
So I think what we are doing right now is we are documenting everything, whatever we are doing at GoWhipped, building GoWhipped. We are calling out people, whatever discussions we have, we are recording everything and we are putting it on our channel called GoWhipped on Instagram. So that once people know the journey, how we have thought about it, why we have thought about it, and what actually brought in the ideas, who brought in the ideas, and what actually happened behind the scenes. So why we are doing it is to actually gather information and put it all on one channel so that they can also get to know how we build this brand. The idea of your question, I just forgot your question.
The most surprising feedback you got from these conversations?
Surprising feedback was that, they are not looking for a luxury premium packaging. They want the product to look more of a bolder side rather than being on a minimalist side. So they don't want the minimal packaging, minimal designs. They want good packaging, good designs, which can look good on their shelves. That's what they're looking for. That was a surprise to me, basically.
So as a CMO, anything else that surprises you? Because, from the marketing perspective, you guys actually think beyond the boundaries.
Right.
And when you're actually talking to them, which is where you are getting a lot of insights, things might change here and there.
Yeah.
Anything which actually considered to be apt for your brand when you spoke to them, which made you think, isme ye changes I think should be necessary. And how often do you actually look at those changes? Because Gen Z's ka to temperament always changes. Yes.
Right. So what we changed after getting this interaction done was the content that we were writing. So we're writing content as usual brands write to, that a body wash, for example, if I'm talking about a body wash, we used to write that this body wash will help you reduce the, increase the hydration of your body levels. It will clean up the all the dirt and whatever the sweat is there on your body. But they don't want to read that language. They're not relating to that language. What they want to read is this particular body wash is meant to be your favorite, main character energy for your product, for yourself. This, for the example, they want to read it in such a way that this body wash gives you the main character energy. This body wash is meant for you.
So you're making the content also relatable to them.
Exactly.
More personalized.
Exactly.
A lot many times you have seen, we have spoke about loyalty per se, but Gen Z ki loyalty we have also spoken about.
Right.
With habit builds loyalty. With usage builds loyalty.
Right.
Skincare is all about experiences. Now, what we are going to understand from Gen Zs these days is to, out of the so many products, they're choosing a certain skincare because it denotes their own character.
Right.
How are you actually working on building that experience to a level where they only consider you as the only brand that they should go about doing it?
There are 3 types of experiences that actually matters. One is emotional. So emotional comes when you get to see a product and connect with it. The packaging, that creates the emotion. Second is sensory experience. When you punch out the texture, what is your first experience towards that particular product? That will give you the second kind of connection with the product. Third is the fragrance that you get. That is, these 3 factors, if aligned clearly, will actually hook somebody to become a loyal customer to you. So we have worked on 3 of them. First is the packaging. We have stood it out. If you look at our packaging, it will stand out from any other product onto the shelves. The product, when once dispensed, every time we dispense a product in front of anybody, any consumer that we are targeting to, the first reaction is like, oh wow, because they have never expected that texture. Third, the fragrance. Every time they smell the fragrance, they come up like, I love this fragrance, give me more. I want to put it more. So if these 3 things are aligned and they are relating to all these things at once, they'll become loyal to you.
Gaurav, mostly those fragrances, they accept the body. That's how we call it.
Right.
So how do you ensure, not just you as such, but how does even Gen Z ensure that the fragrance that they loved stays for long? Because that's what the culture is, where their character is getting built up.
Right.
How do you ensure that, that fragrances last in your product?
So for general, if you use a body wash, the fragrance might last to 35 to 40 minutes.
Not more than that.
Not more than that.
Yes.
For our particular products that we have developed, we have ensured, once you have used a body wash, you wash it off, the fragrance will stay up to 5 to 6 hours for the body wash itself. Just after that, you step out of the washroom, you want to put a moisturizer. So once you use the same fragrance of a moisturizer on your body, that's going to extend that hours to 8 hours.
So basically you're creating a ritual experience as well.
Right.
So you're letting them, if you're building a habit, you should do all these things.
Exactly.
So you're creating layers on layers.
Exactly, because everybody uses a body moisturizer only in winters, I see. The reason is because the texture is so heavy, it is so sticky that you cannot use it in summers. But what if I give you a product which is light in texture, easy to use, and you can use it 12 months a year? And that is what we are targeting to.
That's beautiful. And how do you ensure that works across? Because I remember certain body moistures, even if I'm using in winters, I really wanted to get rid of after say 30 minutes or 40 minutes.
Exactly, because they're too heavy.
और अगर वो गर्मी है तो it's more like I'm sweating, I'm dispatching a lot of oil.
Right.
तो उसके साथ वो texture भी निकल रहा है.
Exactly.
So it doesn't work that way.
Right.
So I need something which stays and it doesn't give me that for a oily skin or for a skin like mine.
Right.
It stays. It should not leave.
Exactly.
How do you ensure that कि वो चीजें रहे वहाँ पे?
So when I talk about our body moisturizer, what we have curated in this whipped format, the first USP comes out to be its airy light in texture. When you apply onto your skin, within 5 minutes you won't feel there is anything on your body in terms of residue, but only the hydration level will stay.
Okay.
Right? We have only added those ingredients which are necessary for your body, not just to make it more hydrating, more enriching. Just an ingredient that should be on your part of your daily routine to keep your skin healthy. So when I'm selling you a product which is more likely to be a part of your daily life rather than being a seasonal product, then only you will get hooked to a product because you're using 12 months.
Got it. I think that's how this actually works.
Yeah. So this is somewhat our bottle looks like. So the texture, the bottle, what copy we have written after getting interaction with the consumers. So the first line says chocolate in a shower, ? Obviously. And then it starts like Choco Whip body wash that makes you feel like cuddling with the chocolate. So this is the kind of content
very
we have
sensual.
developed. Exactly. And you are listening to it and you're getting hooked to it. That's what we want to do.
Nice. And since it's skincare,
right?
It's basically a mass premium, traditionally giving signal aspirations to the Gen Zs. How do they actually relate over perfection?
I think perfection comes with when you talk more of a clinical language, right? When you talk more clinical, they will find that they are more on a perfection side. But do you think that Gen Z are looking for something which is too perfect?
I don't think so.
Because
हम पहले भी बात कर चुके ना, they don't stick to one.
Exactly, they don't stick to one. They want to try it. If they like it, they will keep it. Else, they will just dump it off. The buying capacity is there. The intention of using a product is there. It's only how you are selling to them.
Which is where Gen Z replaces a brand in one scroll doesn't happen too often.
Right.
Unless until they are hooked to it.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I have some of a rapid fire round, and we spoke about it in bits and pieces already. But really wanted to understand from you: do you believe in bold packaging or minimalist packaging?
Bold packaging. After interacting with Gen Zs, I believe in it now.
Dermat credibility or creator credibility?
I think both. Because Dermat and creators come together to make it. Because Dermat will give you more of a functional side, which our products also have. Creator will give you the virality factor, what actually is going in the market, and that's where they both comes in the same boat to me.
Launch fast or perfect fast?
I think launch fast because perfection comes over time. You cannot build a perfect product on day one. Once you give it to the people, they understand, they give you the feedback, then you reiterate and make it better. That's how the industry is operating.
Community first or performance first?
I think both again. Because community, yes, we are driven by a community of Gen Zs and that's where we exist. And again, the second part.
The performance.
The performance should be, because we as a brand are making a product which is body care. We focus on performance and community both at the same time.
आपके Instagram पे बहुत सारे followers भी हैं and I see a lot of influencers do that. So viral moment or long-term ritual?
I think long-term ritual. because virality is temporary and long-term ritual is something that people will hook to.
Oh, beautiful. Same day delivery or immersed digital experience?
Same day delivery, because if it's not getting delivered quickly in today's generation, in today's era, I don't think digital experience matters then.
So you prefer more of a quick commerce than e-commerce?
Yeah, we are selling across quick commerce.
One word that defines Gen Z beauty in India.
Gen Z beauty in India, the reality of India, I would say.
Oh, ये तो सबसे वाला बढ़िया था. Nice. Thank you so much, Gaurav, for making time out. I mean, I think we really wanted to decode Gen Z, and you are like apt on it. Are you a Gen Z as well?
I am almost a Gen Z, I would say, because just a borderline Gen Z. I'm more of a millennial now.
Yeah. But when you spoke to them, I think you decoded a lot. One thing which I forgot to ask, so I'm asking right now. When you sell a bottle or when you sell a product to them, they use it. Do you actually go back and again check with them whether they liked it or not?
Yeah, we do, because feedback is always what keeps us going. So every time we sell a product, so we also call them after a month or two to understand what they found in the product. Have they dumped it or are they still using it? That gives us an insight what we need to change, what we need to make it better.
But these are people that you have actually sold the product through you, right? Not through e-com.
No, e-com doesn't give us that data.
Neither the Q-com.
No, nobody.
So if you are choosing them, then you are basically doing a trial and testing thing, or you actually selling them and going back to understand how your product is performing.
So we sell them and then we go back to them and understand them. So because these people who are buying from our website, they get to know more about it.
And which is where you have the data about
We have the data to
so then you call back. So it's more of a feedback.
Right.
So is there a process of doing a feedback? And do you do on a regular basis, or that's just one time question, answer and done? Because, controlling them, it's not that easy.
No. So they don't want deeper conversations to go on after they've bought the product until they love the product. If they are hooked to your brand, if they relate, it relates with them, they are more happy to talk more about it.
And how often do you see that, once you sell it to them, they kind of like it and then they're posting reviews everywhere and tagging you? How often do you see that?
That only comes with the virality factor what we have got now, because when you talk about the bottle is so Instagrammable that when you get that bottle, you will instantly feel of putting a picture on, telling people that I have bought this.
That's a usual Gen Z behavior.
Exactly.
Everything gets on Instagram.
Exactly.
So, wonderful.
One more thing to add here. So on our packaging label, we have added this QR code. So if we are selling through quick commerce also, we have mentioned do not scan onto it. People generally mention scan me, and I have mentioned do not scan. The reason is that is how Gen Z talk to us. If you tell them do not do this, they will do that.
They will do it, yes.
And that's where most of the scans are coming from.
So my teammate, as in the girl who actually looks after all the design, but is also a Gen Z. So I asked her to create a QR code for my podcast as well, so I can paste it on the moving vehicles.
Right.
So she gave me two options. One is board in traffic, which is very millennial kind of a thought.
Right.
The other one was don't scan.
This is something.
And that was like don't scan is like huge.
Right.
So people would first of all, look into it and then definitely scroll it. I love that idea so well that, as millennials, we don't think about it. We go in a very straight way direction कि ऐसे ही करते हैं तो ऐसे ही चलेगा. These guys think out of the box.
Right.
And kudos to you because, going through your entire LinkedIn, handle, which I'm going to give Gaurav's LinkedIn details in the description box, you have done very thorough research. I barely see founders actually putting their studies onto that, social media,
right,
where the credibility, brings a lot. And I think that's kind of your DNA because you've been a CMO, you know exactly how to get value with the customer,
right,
and, understanding consumer at a greater depth, and then telling people that, that's how we brought ourselves. We are not like, ये already shelf पे है, बताओ कौन सा लगाना हम इसमें label लगा के तुम्हें देते. That's not kind of a work that you have done.
Right.
So kudos to you and the way you have actually brought up the GoWhipped whole community around it. I saw the Instagram and I loved it, but definitely I've not used your product, so I would probably try once or other. एक चीज और मेरे दिमाग में आई थी, गौरव, experience सिर्फ bottle के I mean, the way you actually show your bottles, the way you do actually these interviews, the way you are actually giving them what they actually prefer. What else do you do कि उनको लगे कि यार ये product मेरे लिए?
So one thing that we have done it recently was that we asked a lot of people, do they sing in a shower? I told you about it. So when we realized that yes, they are somebody who are hooking to music while they're in shower. So we have curated a playlist on Spotify by the name of GoWhipped. So it has all the music that Gen Zs prefer while being in a shower. So once somebody buys a product, we send them a link that enjoy the product in shower while listening to this playlist.
So you're letting them actually shower for more than 1.5 hours.
Yes. Now they can shower more, listen to good music, use good products, and have a good time in shower.
Beautiful. I love the idea behind GoWhipped. When I think you're hitting a market in a different way altogether.
Right.
The people who used to push their tubes out and use those lotion bottles, they're actually going about. I mean, do you also providing the travel bottles as well in future?
So these bottles are travel friendly.
Okay.
Because under 100 ml, it's all allowed in airplanes.
Yeah,
so they can carry it all over India, and international too.
Beautiful. I love the conversation. And if there's one thing today's conversation made clear, it is this. Loyalty isn't dying. It's transforming. Gen Z doesn't reject brands. They reject irrelevance. In skincare, where identity, aesthetics, and emotional intersect, winning isn't about being the biggest brand on the shelf. It's about being the most culturally tuned in one. So thank you, Gaurav, again, giving us the perspective where, you're bringing a different product altogether. You're reaching out to the consumers. You're talking to them. You're understanding what is changing and how much it is changing, where you can also, fit into that gap.
Yeah.
So you're doing a fabulous job. And again, sharing all that relevant case studies, which I totally loved about understanding, how much you're decoding Gen Z's about. Yeah. And to everyone watching, in the world where brands are replaced in one scroll, the real question is, are you building for attention or are you building for connections? Until next time, stay curious, stay collaborative, and keep trying and keep building what's next. Wait for this episode to be aired soon. See you in the next episode.